That's how those voices sound in your head when you do not entertain something positive to drown them out. And it's more negative that will consume you versus thinking positive. You have to be intentional about the things you listen to, the things you read, the places you go, the conversations you have, because at some point, anything that's around you will become you. It will become a part of you. It will become a part of your thought process. It's important to feed yourself things on a positive note, because more negative can take over without, not even intentional. Not to say you're a negative person, but I think it's just how the mind is built to just lean towards the opposite of what's good.
Little toughness.
Listen, stop feeling sorry for yourself. But come on, man, what's wrong with you?
The mental toughness mindset.
I had to go to grow.
Covers up. The big happens. The big happens.
Martin Luther King.
You got challenges that you're going to run across.
Okay, so welcome to another episode of Elite Psyche on this podcast. Well, we call it the Big Show now. We done with the podcast. This is a show. And on this show, we usually interview people who have been successful because most successful people have gone through a lot of challenges, and that will make you an elite psyche person. But today I have a special guest host. She's elite too, but she's gonna discuss the three topics that we have today. Her name is Tawanna Johnson, and she's in Memphis, Tennessee. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Tawanna. Tell us a little bit about your life. Give us a 1-minute overview.
I am Tawanna Johnson. I am a licensed insurance agent, more so on the life and health side of insurance. I'm a mother of 2 children, transitioned from the Army, and I love God and all his people and foolishness too.
Okay. So are you originally from Memphis?
I am born and raised.
Okay. North Memphis or where?
North Memphis. North 38128 exit 8, as we say out here.
Oh my God. I just saw some foolishness the other day from North Memphis. And I'm like, oh my God, the world's coming to an end. I don't know if you saw this, but it was a rap song with a young lady. You haven't seen that?
No.
Oh my God. The world's coming to an end. I'm just telling you that right now.
So I'm from North Memphis, but anyone that has known me or interacts with me, they always ask, "Are you from Memphis?"
Memphis, okay.
You don't act
all
like
right.
it.
You don't act like, okay.
So them people over in the north, we're gonna leave. So I'm quite sure whatever you saw, I can believe it times 10.
Oh my God. So
North Memphis is one of those.
Yes.
Ain't no telling what you know.
Yeah, I'm telling you. All right, so Valerie, let's get started. Let's show our first video, and we're gonna come back. And this is a video too. Let me say this that I saw on YouTube, and I want to give them credit for it. So when we come back, I'm gonna tell you guys where I saw it at and what podcast it was, because I hate to be using people's stuff without telling them. So, I mean, but I really love this conversation that she was having. And I said, this would be great topic to talk about. So let's go with that one, Valerie.
One is guaranteed to die. Why does 80% of African Americans lack life insurance?
Oh, I feel like I be talking a lot, but I'm ready.
Go ahead.
This is definitely my topic. This is in direct alignment with my content. It is the thought process that tomorrow is not guaranteed, true, but I'm going to live for today. I can't afford it. They don't want to allocate that money to their future. And a lot of Black people do not think about the responsibility that they have to leave their children an inheritance. At minimum, can you leave me debt free? They are dying with $10,000, $20,000 funeral bills that we got to have a fish fry and a t-shirt sale to pay for. People don't understand that a lot of generational wealth, the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, they built their generational wealth by putting life insurance policies on their elderly and waiting on them to die. They took those hundreds of thousands of dollars and started their businesses. And they created trust for the next line of life insurance to go into a trust so we could keep it going. We don't think past today. So we want to live for today because tomorrow's not promised. That's true. But what if you live to be 85? Then what? What if you have children and you leave them in debt? You leave nothing for them. Really, to be honest, the easiest way to build generational wealth is by having life insurance. But we do not plan and we don't care about the generations to come. Why? I'm dead. They can figure it out when I'm gone,
right.
which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
All right. So that was first off, in my opinion, with Tom Swoop. That's his podcast. It's on YouTube. Please go and subscribe to it. He has some great information. I subscribed to it a while back, and I've looked at some of his videos, and I saw that one. I said, this is something we have to talk about, especially when we have Miss Tawanna on tonight. And so you got to share with me your thoughts on that, because you are an insurance lady. You do life, and what other kind of insurance do you? Is life,
Health,
just life?
life and health at this point, but I've worked in all aspects of insurance: life, health, property, auto. Yeah. Okay.
So tell me what you think about that.
I agree with her statement 100% all the way. What I've personally noticed myself is it's mostly men that make the statement, and not to say it's all men, but most men, unless they are truly grounded in like their family and they either grew up a little bit different than now, their thing is, well, I'll be dead. I mean, it really don't matter. But the thing is, they don't think about, and she said a lot of people live for today versus thinking about tomorrow. Even in living for today, what are you living for if you're not invested in something that's going to carry on after you're gone? It's essentially a legacy, something that continues to live and grow when you're no longer here. Insurance is not a bill, which most people seem to consider it or look at it that way. It's even said that most people, as soon as they come up on hard times, the first thing they want to do is eliminate their life insurance or eliminate insurance in general. Here in Memphis, 85% of the people drive without auto insurance. And I learned that starting off on the auto side, auto insurance, and then insuring property, businesses, or homes. And then later going into, getting them health and life insurance. But trying to get people even to get auto insurance, it was like, well, I'll just be careful. If I get hit, it's on somebody else, or I'll let the state pay for it. Or, hey, the thought process that we have behind life insurance is it's warped. It's it's hard, but for me, I still feel I'm fairly young, even though I'm 40. But I feel as though the mindset comes from lack of knowledge. It's not enough conversations that are had about the importance of life insurance. We don't talk about it collectively as a family. I remember growing up, what I heard about insurance, I just knew you needed it. You should have it. Understanding life insurance, I didn't understand it until I got my first job and started working, and my dad talked about what benefits does your employer offer? Make sure they have a good benefits package. What does the insurance look like? Once I had kids, then I started thinking about life insurance. Like she said, a lot of the wealthier people make investments. They either do it on their older grandparents or parents. Everybody collectively comes together because it's much more expensive to get life insurance on an older person. But if you have a family of 7 adults and some teenagers that are working, if everybody took a little bit of money and put it together, they could afford their life insurance policy. Like that. If you can't afford it on an older person, put it on your young child. As soon as you have a child, it is the least expensive to get life insurance when they're young. And you can get a whole life policy that's going to build cash value so that by the time they're 18 or maybe even 21 and they're trying to, branch out on their own, whether it's get their own house or car, they're not trying to work an extra job or figure out where they're going to get some money for a down payment or money towards a car. A lot of other people, other races, other backgrounds, other people that are established, they already have that cash value built up and say, hey, don't worry about trying to like overwork yourself. Take the cash value off your life insurance and that'll give you a good start. But we as a people, for some reason, don't have enough conversations about life insurance. We don't talk about death. We don't talk about investing. We don't talk about wills. All of these things that we are exposed to because we have now social media, we have technology, we have phones, we have internet, but we don't put the focus where we necessarily should, being adults. Mm-hmm. So that's my take on it.
I was going to say exactly what you said, that the rumor is that as soon as people get in financial trouble, they cancel the insurance policy right quick. And you answered that before I even asked you that. So I know that in our community that it's never really talked about, and people, you see people who won't get a policy, but their kids have on $200 Jordans. They have on the Gucci sweater, and okay, yeah, they have all that on, but they say they don't have any money to pay for a small amount for insurance. I know that's challenging when you talk to people because, I'm sure about when you really realize what the policy can do, you want to help a lot of people. Besides make money, you do want to help the community and say, look, this is what you can have, but it's just hard for us to hear.
And that's really what got me into insurance, because I wholeheartedly have a desire to help and educate. I feel that when we walk in our purpose, we do something to help others, we are rewarded in the end. God, I feel, rewards me in life and health and keeping my kids together. The money is always going to come if you're doing something that you're supposed to be doing. But for me, it was more so educating those that just don't understand. Because how can you have on a $250 pair of shoes and you can't invest $50 in a policy every month? Like, that's backwards. That makes absolutely no sense. How can you not have a life insurance policy yet? You got Netflix, you got Prime, you got your internet bill, you got insurance that you pay for on the cell phone that you probably never use, because I'm one of those. I pay for insurance on my phone. Rarely had to use it, but I still have it just in case. How can you have all of these small, minor subscriptions, but you don't have life insurance? Like, you go to work every day and something can happen every day. If nothing else is guaranteed, the day that we are born, we are alive, but we also have a date that we will expire. So we are not here forever. A lot of us aren't living to see 60. Some people, God's will, we get older in our 80s and 90s and get to see the world turns and as it goes. But I go to work every day. But I also have two children. I have an 18-year-old, I have a 12-year-old. But the only thing I can think is if I leave home today and went out and something happened to me, would my children be okay? I don't want no GoFundMe. Please don't put no fish fry for me. Right. I don't think my mama going to church and in the special announcement section, she is getting up with a pot saying, hey, could y'all help bury my, I don't. For one, I respect my parents enough to not want to leave that burden on them. One. Two, I want my children to know that their mother went to work every day and set something aside for them to give them a better start. On the flip side of that, I also educate my children about money, because I very well could have a nice life insurance policy that I leave my children. But if I'm not educating them on money, investing, how to be smart and wise about your money, it's kind of pointless, because I can leave you $500,000 and you blow it within a year.
Right.
So it's two parts to not only investing in life insurance, but just understanding what the investment is and how long it could carry out. So I'm glad we're having the conversation. I feel a lot more people should kind of, I hope this turns on a light bulb in someone's mind to say, let me look at my insurance if you have it, or let me talk to someone if I don't have it, so I have an understanding. Because it's an uneasy topic for a lot of people, because of course you're talking about death. So a lot of people are like, I feel like I'm planning for death and I'm speaking on, you're not speaking on it. We're gonna die.
Yes. That's a guarantee.
That's
guaranteed.
In fact, like
yeah.
You may not know if you got a job tomorrow. You may not know if your car is going to work tomorrow, but it is a guarantee just as well as you're born. You're going to die. So it's a tough conversation. It may be an uneasy conversation, but it could be the greatest investment that you make, not only for yourself, but any kids that you leave behind. Or even if you don't have kids, you may have a wife. You have a wife, you own a home. Do you want your wife to struggle and not be able to maintain that home without you? Like it's so many ways around life insurance, whether it's a whole term or a whole life policy, which covers you your whole life, or it's just a term policy that covers you for the time being and the years you need it to cover. So it's definitely something that I would like more people to take interest, especially our people, to take interest, and just being open to listen, to ask questions, to read.
Right. Yeah.
Because the information. Yeah.
I was the other day, I usually walk the Chattahoochee Trail. It's not too far from me, but it had been raining a lot. And so usually in that trail, when it rains heavy, snakes come out. So I wait till it dry up before I go through that trail again. So I decided to walk like on the street, and it was the way I went. It was a lot of police cars and an ambulance there, and I could tell it was a motorcycle accident, and they had the sheet over the guy. So I'm assuming, I'm usually always with my camera, but I said I can't do that. So I'm assuming that, but I was thinking, I'm sure he woke up this morning not thinking that was gonna happen to him.
Right.
And so when we wake up every day, we don't know. And so every day is a gift from God, when you think about it. But we need more of this information into our community, a lot. And I don't know but again, if it helps one person, if one person view this and it helps that one person to do something, then it's worth it. So talk a little bit about the cash value side. When you said that, when kids turn different ages and they grow up, and the parents usually take, is it parents or the son, or the child can do that? Which one on the cash value?
It's whomever the beneficiary is of the policy. So if you take out a life insurance policy when a child is under one, it could be anywhere from 10,000 up to, the amount of the policy would depend on what you're willing to invest in the policy. The good thing is when you typically get a whole life policy, the rate that you get when you first take the policy out is the rate that stays with you for the life of the policy. So imagine taking a life insurance policy out that's maybe $12 for $50,000 for an infant. That's $12 of $50,000 of an investment that you have made. And it will be $12 when that child is 21 or 23 to take that policy over for themselves. $12. Versus if that person waited until they were 21 and trying to get a $50,000 policy, maybe it's $20, $25 a month versus $12. It's still not expensive, but it goes based on your age. It goes based on health condition, which is why I suggest for anyone that has small children, if you can't do something big, take out a small policy. A small whole life policy will, for one, cover that child their whole life. Two, technically the rate that you get when you take the policy out will be the rate that that child has when they're old enough they can take the policy on for themselves. Now, they don't have to take over the policy for themselves. You can stay the beneficiary and the policy holder and just keep paying on the policy for them. Or once they've reached a certain age, you can transfer it over to them where they are the primary policy holder and they take on the, the monthly payments. As far as the cash value bills after so many years, depending on the amount of the policy and what type of policy it is. But typically, like I said, if you take out a policy on a young child, a whole life policy that bills cash value, by the time that child is 21, 18, depending on the policy and the amount, you could have a good $2,000-$3,000. I mean, it may not be like a lot of money, but it's still something more for a young adult that they can take and put towards something, whether it's a down payment on an apartment or their first home, furnishing their living quarters, or getting their first vehicle. It's not an expense that they have to think like, oh gosh, where am I going to get this money from? How much do I have to work? Or who can I borrow money from? How long I need to save? That money has the person that took the policy out has already kind of alleviated that stress on a young adult, which to me, in my opinion, gives you a head up. I'm learning with my 18-year-old son, and I tell him all the time as we go through certain life experiences as he's growing up, I'm proud of myself, for one, that I've made certain sacrifices. I've done certain things. I learned from my past experience. I'm sure if my parents could have did more for me coming up, they would have, but they couldn't. They did what they could. Right. I appreciate them for what they did, but me now having children, it makes me want to work harder and do more. I told my son, he just recently got a car, like, hey, you should be proud of yourself because for one, he's been working since 15 and a half. When he started working, I told him about saving your money, putting money aside. I taught him about building your credit. I got him a credit card, taught him how to use the credit card, pay it off by the statement date, the due date. But I'm slowly teaching him things based on my experience because I didn't have it. Nobody told me. Only thing I knew about getting out on your own is if you can't swim, you're gonna sink. That was technically the story I got. And I'm like, I can't swim. I can't swim. But they were saying, like, getting out on your own is such a big responsibility. You take on so much. If you're not ready for it, you can drown. You can get out there, you get too overwhelmed. And it's just so much that happens as you're growing up. Right. So now that I have properly prepared or am properly trying to place things in place for my children, I'm learning as I go. The best thing you can do is make an investment, whether it's a small one or a big one. It is not a bill. It's an investment because it's going to carry far beyond anything. Like, I can buy him some shoes, but he's not going to like those shoes after a week or two because I know him well enough. Right. And the shoes are $250. Right. If I can invest in this policy that you have, it's not doing anything for us at this point. We're not touching it. We're not taking anything off of it. But every month I make sure I pay it because one day it's going to be needed. And that to me is enough to say I've made an investment in my children. So anything else outside of that really is extra to me. So I think I just more so spoke on the whole life side. Term policies are more so if you have a specific amount of debt that will be paid off in a certain time span, such as a mortgage. If you got a 30-year mortgage and you take out a 30-year term policy, meaning in the event you pass away, you're married, that term policy, you have a whole life in a term policy. Your term policy, you have a 30-year term policy, which you can cash out on and cover your 30-year mortgage or 15 years, whatever you have left. And that money covers the house. Your whole life policy that you may also have will be the extra expenses that you leave behind, so your wife or your spouse or your family can comfortably live, if not forever. I mean, it's not to live forever off of unless you know how to invest the money and, make it work long term. But the money is to keep your family from being in a stressful situation because you're no longer here. It's something to help ease the loss. Typically, if you have two people in the household, one person may be the higher earner, the other person may just, work part-time or maybe the caregiver of the home. So if something were to happen to the main caregiver and they have a pretty wealthy policy, they're helping that spouse not to struggle 6 months, or some people set it up where 2 or 3 years their spouse is able to live comfortably and not be trying to grieve and figure out where they're gonna get money from.
Right.
It's so many ways that you can make an investment where it's not looked at like a bill. It's looked at like, oh, I'm taking care of my business. This is something I need to do. This is something that's going to carry far beyond my days here on this earth. This is something my family can look back and be like, well, he probably wasn't a good person, but at least he did this, or he or she.
Right.
So it's the mindset that if you care anything about your family, your spouse, or just working, why would you go to work every day and give all of your time and effort to other people and not leave anything behind for your family or loved ones to look back and say, well, wow, probably wasn't.
Well, that's our culture. We quickly say, I'll be gone. I don't care about leaving them nothing. I'm gone now. You know what I'm saying? And I hate that that's a conversation that we have. And it's like, that, I don't know. But let me ask you this. Right quick. Go ahead.
No one left anything for them.
Yeah.
So how can you, if you're not
right,
if you're not entertaining certain things that make you think differently, your thought process is going to be where you can't be no better than where you come from. So
right. I made it without it. Then you got to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So I don't want to pass on the struggle. That's my thing.
Right.
No,
I agree. Here's another. This is the last question I'm gonna ask about this. We move on to the next topic, but I saw this on YouTube probably about 3 months ago, and it kind of made sense. It was interesting that the lady was talking. I'm sure you've heard it, where she was talking about if we start taking policies out on these younger guys in the hood, so all the killers they got in the hood, and even the cops that's doing the killings, these insurance companies are gonna say, wait a minute. I'm paying out too much doggone money here. Y'all gonna have to do something about that. You're gonna have to stop the killing, black on black. You're gonna stop the cops killing because it's just too much money that I got to pay out. And so the powers to be would step in if we had policies and people had policies on these young kids. That would stop a lot of it. What do you think about that?
I definitely agree. I heard a topic of conversation on it as well. It was like the system would not want to put out all that money to pay the insurance carriers, or the insurance carriers would want to dish out all this money because now the government has to have some control and responsibility over, because those lives are covered by the insurance companies.
Right.
But it's like, who's going to enforce that? That's great. I really wish it was a requirement. I wish that the moment a child was born and a social security number was issued, a whole life policy was split over to that mother. Sign on this line. This is the amount. It should be automatic.
Right.
Because death is like,
right.
It's not an age limit. It's not a certain area of where you live. It's not. It's anywhere, anything can happen. Just like you said, the guy was laying in the middle of the street. I'm sure he did not say like, I'm going to go right here.
Yeah.
But so much is happening, whether it's a car accident, heart attack, stroke, not living healthy, not taking care of yourself. We got different drugs nowadays. Children are exposed to a lot of things. Like, why wouldn't you do the minimum to invest in your child instead of making it like, we'll invest in, like you said, in clothes and shoes and materialistic things, but the investment is long term. What's going to stay with them?
Yeah.
So in some kind of way, the thought process should be talked about. I can't say enforced, because we would collectively as a people have to enforce it, but I think if more conversation was put on it, if it was made more of a focal point, like a lot of other things are, then more people would probably get that light to come on, like, I'm missing something.
Right.
Why don't I have it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it just needs, well, I don't say just needs, because it's a lot of things that need to be done to get people to wake up, not just on this, but it's a lot of other things. So,
Right.
But let's move to the next topic, Val. Let's see the other video now this guy here, I'll tell you, and I'm going to tell you about the podcast when it come back, but this guy here is a lightning rod, people, well, he's a firecracker. So sometimes he's bringing a lot of good stuff, and then sometimes he's not. But I really like what he's talking about on this clip. So let's see that, Valerie.
It's hard. If you're not black, you're not going to feel it, and you're going to see it, but you're going to deny it. We're the only ones that can feel it, because we're on the receiving end of it. We're the only ones that can feel it. They can see it, but because certain privileges they have, it muddies the water for them to see it, because racism is hidden now. It used to be blatant. No colors allowed, whites only. But now it's like this carpet. We can't see all the fiber in this carpet. That's racism. It's embedded in the fabric of this country. It's in the bank loans when we don't get to see who tell us no on the bank loan.
There it is.
It's in this zip code when we don't know the median average of the income in this zip code. We don't know who all got diabetes, high blood in this particular zip code. Yep. We don't know all the young people that's catching this one particular. That's racism. We can't see it, because capitalism have come along and is pushing racism out. It's just that we ain't died yet, the ones who know racism. Our kids don't know it. They don't know what it looked like. They don't even know how to identify it. They know classism, rich, poor. But racism will still exist, even when it's classism, even when it's capitalism, because this country was built on racism. It's embedded in the fabric of it.
Literally. Yeah.
That's why certain races got hate bills and we don't, because racism still matters. That's why Asians have a hate bill, and there's no bill for somebody to say, I'm finna go kill a bunch of black people like they did in Jacksonville. That was a hate crime, but it wasn't identified as a hate crime. It was identified as a mental illness crime. Dylan Roof, man, so we're the receivers of it, so other people can't see it. It looked like we're just complaining and making it up.
Do you think reverse racism is
we don't have no power to reverse it. We don't have a bank where we can deny a white person a loan. We don't set the credit rating scores for the FICA scores. We don't control the school districts, because the school district is where racism is bred and indoctrinated and taught.
All right, so that's the Danza Project podcast. It's a great podcast. I watch it a lot. I'm subscribed to it. And I saw that and I said, he really went on and on, but I just wanted to get that clip there so we can talk about it. So what's your opinion on that, Tawanna?
Before my opinion, I guess my question is, if racism is embedded, like you said, in the fibers of our making of this country, do we want to get rid of it? Like, do we want to tell our kids how to identify what racism is? What do you think?
Do we want to tell our kids how to identify what racism is?
Because like
but see, now what you're saying is you're saying kind of like what the Caucasians are saying. Let's just whitewash all this. Let's just push it aside. Don't put it in the books. Don't talk about it. That's a long time ago, as if it's not still happening. So
we can't whitewash it though. I mean, like
they're trying to take it out of all the books. They're trying to get rid of all the books. So,
But by them getting rid of it, it's just our younger people won't be able to identify like we had the means to identify. But that doesn't mean there aren't other ways that they can educate themselves on what it is. But the only way they would have the knowledge or will to even want to know about racism is somebody got to talk about it. Someone has to point it out. Somebody has to make it obvious.
Okay, so you're saying when you see it, because you, like he said, you know what racism is.
Right.
You're saying when you see that and it happens to your child, you don't tell them?
I do.
Okay, but what were you saying then?
I'm saying, like, if based on what he said,
Right.
if it's embedded,
it is.
Do we just continue to keep telling our children how to identify with what racism is, since it's not going anywhere? Or do we just allow the system to do what it's doing and attempt to remove it or clear it out?
Well, okay, I got you. Now, yeah, I mean, you can't. You're not going to be able. It's in the fiber, like the carpet, he said. So it ain't going to change until, like he said, till those people die. And all of them have to die off, and then hopefully it will. But yeah, I think you should explain every time a situation happens, because, you know, a lot of things in the younger generation now, like, you know, I think hip hop has done more for racism than Martin Luther King did. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got them listening to that music, and now they're looking at us differently, not like their parents did. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, they're following a lot of, you know, black folks. They're doing the same thing, and the parents didn't do that. So I think that has helped. But then hip hop also has messed up our community too. So, you know what I'm saying? So I don't, man, that's like, I don't know, that's a blessing and a curse almost, you know, with that, because, you know, we could talk about that all day long, but, you know, it's embedded and it's here, and it's I don't see, and it's amazing how a lot of people say, well, it's not there anymore. You need to just pull your pants up and just go and make it happen. Yeah, that's true. We all have to do that. We all have to go to work and make it happen. But it's a lot of things that's been passed on through generations that has been embedded in our system that, you know, it's systemic. That it's a lot of things that happen that you wonder why, you know, they say, well, you know, now, you know, it ain't like that, so just go make it happen. But think about the generations of free labor they had that made these people wealthy. Mm-hmm. And so now their generations have passed it down through generations from the free labor. And so now they're looking at us like, well, go make it happen. Yeah, we got to go make it happen. But the reason you all are making it happen came from those years of free labor. You know, I'm not saying everybody, but it's just kind of hard to, when I listen to people who say, well, racism is over with, or they say, well, I ain't got nothing to do with me. I didn't do anything. That was people a while back. That didn't have anything to do with me.
I don't think racism, even though you said it, those people would have to die off. It will never die off. I don't think. Because if they're racist, they have other races under them. They are sharing some form of their level of how to treat people differently. So that generationally, it will continue. It will never die off, I don't think.
So tell me something that you experienced in your lifetime that you knew was blatant, but somebody maybe didn't see it. You know, because a lot of times, like when the clip came on, he said, we're the only one can feel it. They can't feel it. You know what I'm saying? They're looking around like, you know, why you tripping like that? And, you know, it's like, I'll tell you this, the other day, I was in what was that? Virginia. I was in South Carolina, I think, somewhere, North Carolina. And I was leaving a meeting, and I was walking with a Caucasian lady, just walking down the street. Now, she didn't feel the looks that I was getting, but I did. I knew, looking at the people and what they would, you know, the little smirks they were putting, because, you know, I didn't bring it up to her because I'm sure she didn't pick it up. But we were just walking down the street. But I saw it, you know what I'm saying? So these things that it's almost like how people say, just be in my shoes for a day and walk into a department store and see how different you are looked at, and see how different, or go into a bank and talk to people in the bank about certain things and see how how people react to you in the bank compared to, changing your color. You walk in my shoes for a day, so that part we agree is not going to change. But I guess my biggest issue is how a lot of people don't see it, because how he said they don't feel it because they're not in our shoes. And so, you get around people that are Caucasians, and you have a relationship with them, and they say, well, Tony, I don't see what you're seeing. This whole world has changed now. It's not like it was then. Well, it wasn't like that, but it ain't, it still ain't gone away. You know what I'm saying? Can you think of one thing that you experienced that you thought about when it happened?
I had a personal experience when I was in the military, which is one that would probably stick with me the longest. But it was, I guess for me, it was eye-opening, because I'm thinking, like, I guess I had this picture of what the military would be like, but technically they're just regular people that have joined this nation to serve the country. But everything that happens out here as civilians, that happens in the military, is just structured and very weird. I was older, but it was more so the leadership that was over me at a time was, you could definitely tell there wasn't too much of a liking for us.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say you can tell, like, it was no way around it. It was obvious that it was a sincere problem with us. It was, statements would be made about how we carry ourselves, or how we act, or how loud we are, we don't listen, or statements about how women are more aggressive. It was just a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're in that type of environment, I mean, this being someone that's over me or looked at as my NCO or sergeant, rather, what could I do as a soldier? I just, I bear it. But being that I was 33, 34, it just gave me an eye opening to realize, like I said, I had this one impression of what service would be like and people would be like, because we're all collectively one team, one fight. So we're all serving the same purpose. But technically on the reality side of things, we're all human. So if you didn't like us as a civilian, you're definitely not going to like us with some authority and a patch on your sleeve. You gonna make sure we feel it in the worst ways.
Right.
So I don't want to say too much, because it did happen when I was like in the military, but I will talk about this current experience with one of my colleagues. It wasn't me per se, but he had a video image. They recently took a cruise, Disney cruise. So he's there with his entire family. He's sitting at the head of the table. He has family on both sides of the table, and he has his grandson, which I think is like 6 or 7. So Spider-Man comes out, and he's doing all these little acts, coming through, appeasing the crowd. Like, they're at the middle table, long middle table. It's a group of, us at the middle table. But Spider-Man comes from the back. It's a table. It's 2 tables to the right of them, round tables, and 2 tables to the left of them, round tables. And it's a table at the door where Spider-Man came out from, another round table. The guy comes out dressed in his Spider-Man suit. He goes around and takes pictures. He passed the little 6-year-old at the long table in the middle, waving for Spider-Man, like, hey, trying to flag him down, get a picture. He goes around, takes pictures at the 2 tables on the left, the 2 round tables, goes back around to the table that was at the door, get pictures, passes this 6-year-old, goes to the table behind him, throwing his little, how Spider-Man got the little, I don't know what you call it, but
the web.
Yeah. He's shooting his web out. So the 6-year-old is all excited, and you can tell, like, he has all this energy trying to get Spider-Man's attention. So the grandfather then says, hey, Spider-Man. He never made any eye contact. He never turned around. He never acknowledged them at all. So it was 2 Caucasian ladies at the table behind them. that watched him pass. They saw the little boy with all this excitement. They watched him pass. And they were so frustrated. So the grandfather said he tried not to make a scene. He tried to handle things the right way. He went to whomever was over the character department. They didn't really give him any help there. They ended up, long story short, they ended up going through corporate. Corporate responds back with a letter, an apology. They send this really big gift box with all this extra stuff and autograph signatures and all this stuff. When this, to me, I'm sitting there like, this is just pure, out in the open amongst a crowd of people. How more racist could you get to a child, a 6-year-old, somebody that's excited about a character that you're playing? You're taking the time and energy to go all the way around this kid with all this energy sitting in the middle.
Right.
And that was disheartening, but it was also eye-opening because racism is here. Sometimes it's hidden. Sometimes it's not. A lot of times, you know when you're in an environment and you're not for it.
Right. And the biggest challenge again is that we know, and a lot of them don't. But those two ladies knew. They could have made some noise because it has to be them stepping up to change some things. It has to be them stepping up. They saw it, but it happens. And you made me think about a situation. I think I told you I was in the Coast Guard Reserve, which people tell me that's not. First of all, the Coast Guard is not anything, and then the reserve. I'm like, man, hey. But this is the deal. That summer that I went to the Coast Guard, I was trying to go to the Air Force first, and then it was my sophomore year in college, and I came home looking for a job, couldn't find a job, and I wanted to get a car. And I told my dad, I go half. Can you go half on the car with me? He said, yeah. So I wanted to make about $5,000 or $6,000 that summer and put it on the car, but nobody was hiring. So I went down, and that was during the time where, they were all in one station. You go next door to the Air Force, then the Army, then the Marines, then all those in order. So I went to the Air Force first. They said it would be a year wait. I went to next door to the Marines, and they said it would be, 6 months. And the Air Force said, the Army said the same thing. So I saw the Coast Guard, and I just went in there. There was nobody in there but the one guy. And I said, can I sign up to the reserve? Because that was the summer where they was giving away $5,000 if you join the reserve and go to boot camp and all that. So that was my only option to get a car. I had to go get that $5,000. So the Coast Guard was the only place that accepted me. And within 2 days, I was gone. I told my mom, I said, I already took the oath. They said, no, you didn't. I said, I did. I said, I'm getting that $5,000. So I went to the Coast Guard. And I went with the guy lying to me, telling me that, all you got to do is know how to swim to that wall and back, which was the biggest lie in the world. Because when you got to the Coast Guard, you had to swim a Olympic-sized pool and then tread water for 10 minutes. That's a whole nother story I tell you about. But when we got there, the company that I was in, out of 100 people, it probably was 70 Black, which is the first time they ever seen that. It was scary to them. It was in Cape May, New Jersey, I know. And you know why we were there? For that 5Gs. They was giving that 5Gs out that summer. And the Coast Guard probably was the only one that was available for you to leave right then and go. And so when we got there and they saw 70 people in this one group, I think it was called Uniform Company or whatever, they figured they got to get rid of, they can't do that. And so the first day, the guy came up to me. I don't even know the titles. That was so long ago. I guess he was my sergeant or something like that. And he said, after we got off the bus, he said, you got attitude. I guess he could pick it up anyway, because I probably did have an attitude. I'm sure he saw that. But out of all the people, he walked up to me and said that. So I said, I don't have an attitude. And so the next day, we were in the I guess the what do you call where all the bunks are? The barracks. And guy was cutting hair. And so we all did this mohawk, because we're gonna be together as brothers, you know. So we did the mohawk, cut off all the side, had the mohawk here. So I was walking past his office the next day, and he said, "Come here, Fleming." And I came in. He said, "Now, why you do your hair like that?" I said, "Well, you know, I'm not the only one. There's some more people in here." He said, "But I asked you, why you do your hair like that?" I said, "We just decided to do it." He said, "Well, I tell you what, tomorrow, your hair better be even when I see you." And so I went back to the barracks and told the guys, they said, "Well, he ain't said nothing to me yet," you know, which he eventually probably did. So I told him to shave off the mohawk. So when I saw him the day after that, he says, "I thought I told you how your hair even." I said, "It is." He said, "No, I wanted this side to grow back." I'm like, how you thought that was going to happen? That the shave side was going to grow back the next day to the mohawk side? That's it. So what he said was, I disobeyed a direct order. So he took me out of the group, which I found out he kicked a lot of people out because he wanted to break that group up because he didn't want all those black guys in one group. So I had to sit in a holding unit, which was pretty much the crazy house because it was a lot of guys there that was going home, but it was a holding unit until a new company came in. And so when the new company came in, I wound up being in a company, it probably was 20% black compared to 70 to 80%. But they made sure that we wasn't going to be together. They divided the group up. And the whole time there, I realized what was going on. But, you know, I wanted the $5,000. I wasn't going, you know, I didn't say anything after that. You know what I'm saying? I did everything that was supposed to do. But I saw, especially the Coast Guard, you know what I'm saying? Because there was a lot of rich kids there. And you look at the tests that they give you. I mean, those tests have nothing to do with our culture. I mean, the stuff that you have to learn and that you don't know about, that these kids know about, has nothing to do with our culture. You know, I wound up passing it and getting out of there and getting my $5,000. But what's so crazy is I would say 70% of the guys who came, 60%, that tells you it would have been a lot more, flunked the swim test because they couldn't swim Olympic-sized pool and tread water for 10 minutes. That was insane, you know. But that ain't what the guy told us. He just said, told me, "Can you swim to that wall and back?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, you good." I'm like, I wouldn't. But just to think about that whole situation and how they looked at it, and I don't know, you know, how it is now, but I'm sure it's probably still similar because a lot of us ain't going to the Coast Guard. But it really doesn't matter. Like you said, it's still wherever you go, it's ingrained, it's systemic, it's ingrained in the fabric of the country. And so that's another challenge that we have to get over. You know, every time we out here, you know, it's a lot of fights that we're fighting that a lot of people don't see.
Right. And I feel my kids will experience it, but will they acknowledge what it is the question. They're definitely going to have their encounters with racism, but the way their minds are, and I guess the way the world is, I don't know if they will see it as maybe they just think the person got an attitude and don't like them, or will they internalize it and realize like, this is just towards me. And why is it just towards me? Man. That's the difference. But racism, I don't think is not going anywhere. It's just how we view it, how we deal with it, how we approach it or not approach it is more so the bigger question. Are you going to keep making a fuss about it? Do you try to end it? Do you address it? Do you call it out? Or do you just, you know, be like, well, that's them and their choice to be racist. It ain't got nothing to do with me.
I think that's we're gonna live with it. It's just that, you know, when we see it, we ought to address it and then keep moving from it. So, all right. So Val, let's go to our last topic. This video here is a little bit longer, but I kind of love this video. I've watched it a few times. It's been out for years, but this guy really makes a point with this. And so let's go with that one, Val.
Here's to another shitty day, Mr. Entrepreneur, Mr. Future Millionaire.
What is wrong with you?
You wake up every single day this negative?
Oh man, what a day today is, huh? Dude, you want a beer?
It's 7 o'clock in the morning.
So what, man? That's the best time of the day to drink. On an empty stomach, it's a lot cheaper. You know, there was a study done once saying it's 50% cheaper to drink in the morning than in the afternoon. I'm just trying to save you some money, man.
Oh yeah? Who did that study?
It was an extensive study done by Playboy magazine.
Great selection of reading material.
You know, it really is. I've learned so much from them. I mean, the content is ridiculous. They teach you different positions, you know, different pickup lines. You should subscribe. It's very good.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Whatever. It's up to you. Loser.
Makes people tick. I want to understand what makes me tick. And
Oh, thank you. That is music to my ears.
Wait a minute. Are we really going to listen to this? No Kanye West? We have to sit here and listen to this Tim Robbins guy?
It's Tony Robbins. Tim Robbins is an actor.
Whatever, Tony, Tim, it's the same guy. It's the same dude that gets up and says, personal power, live with passion, get the edge. Have you ever thought about why this guy's so excited? He's excited because people pay $200 to listen to this crap. I'd be excited too.
You know, I find you so entertaining on some of the stuff you say. Pat, you do not have to listen to what he's telling you. Sometimes the life of an entrepreneur is filled with a lot of people that'll tell you things that make no sense. He's definitely one of them. Just ignore him.
Are you kidding me? Do I really have to sit here and listen to your bullshit you keep feeding them? Listen, every single entrepreneur that became wealthy comes from a family that had millions of dollars to back him up. You think he's got money to back him up and go out there and become successful? Stop feeding him this kind of crap, man. He's working way too hard. The guy's working 80 hours a week. He should be staying home and relaxing. That's way too much work for him.
Oh yeah? So what would you rather have him do? Watch TV, watch sports, watch the news, do all that sorts of things?
Yes, of course, that's what normal people do. My gosh.
No, that's what people with no purpose do.
So let me get this straight. Are you trying to say I have no purpose?
You may not have a purpose, but that's not what I'm really saying. What I'm trying to tell you is, when people actually get clear about what they want in their lives, the value of time goes higher. You don't value your time. He's trying to value his time.
Look at this guy to my right. Look at the way he's looking at me, like as if he's better than me, driving a red Ferrari. What are you looking at? Who would drive a red Ferrari in the first place? Drive off.
It's actually a pretty nice Ferrari he's got.
You know what we should do? You know the girl we met this past weekend? What was her name? Rachel? Roxy. We should call Roxy right now. That's what we should do.
We don't need to do that, Pat. You got bigger and better things to do right now. Let's just stay focused.
Just stop already, man. Stop. Man, what happened to Pops when he started a business? He failed. What happened to Mom and Dad? They got a divorce. What happened to us? We lived 6 different places. Was it fun? Hell no, it wasn't fun. What happened in high school to you? Did you play baseball? Did you play high school basketball? Did you get picked up for football? Did you date the girl you like? What was your GPA? Who were you in high school? Who were you afterwards? What makes you think you're gonna make it in life? Now you gotta stop selling this stuff to this guy, man. Stop it. It's getting old. Go get that job that you let go of paying you $12 an hour and part-time get a degree. Stop taking these damn risks. We're not meant to do something big with our lives. Simple as that. Are we done? I'm done. I'm good. Okay, good. Pat, I want you to know this voice is never going away. This voice is always going to be there. No matter how much money you're going to make, it's always going to be there. The great thing about it is, though, every morning you wake up, you have a choice on which voice to listen to. But I want you to think about a completely different thing right now. Let's just say you do nothing. Let's just say you buy into your fears. Let's just say you buy into every single thing you're worried about. Let's just say you don't make any decisions to go after your dreams. Fast forward 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 40 years from now. Let's just say your funeral's around the corner. You have 50 people there, 100 people there, maybe 200 people show up. These are your friends, family, and people that love you. So you'll be loved for one generation,
remembered for 2 generations, and forgotten after that. Is that truly the life you want to live? Is that really what you want to do? I don't know if that's the life you really want to live. You see, what I've noticed is no matter what you ever do, you'll have a lot of lonely times. You can lie to your family, you can lie to your friends, you can fool the world into realizing that why you didn't win was because of some challenge that you had to face. But there's one person you can never lie to, and that is the man in the mirror. You can never lie to the man in the mirror. Never. For the rest of your life, the man in the mirror is going to look back at you and say, you did not choose to go after your dreams. And you have to be okay with that. Now, what I would like to encourage you to do is to make the right choice. I encourage you to face your fears and pursue your dreams. Go pursue the dreams that matter the most to you. You only got one shot at this thing here. And if it works out, man, it's going to feel so good for you. And if it doesn't, at least you had the courage to make that decision. I hope you make the right choice. I trust you will.
All righty. So, give me your opinion of that. What do you think about it?
That's how those voices sound in your head.
Yeah.
When you do not entertain something positive to drown them out. That's literally it. And it's more so, it's more negative that will consume you versus thinking positive. But you have to be intentional about the things you listen to, the things you read, the places you go, the conversations you have, because at some point, anything that's around you will become you. It will become a part of you. It will become a part of your thought process. It's important to feed yourself things on a positive note, because more negative can take over without, not even intentional, not to say you're a negative person, but I think it's just how the mind is built to just lean towards the opposite of what's good.
Yep. That's it, man. We leans toward negativity more than anything. And I was watching a show the other day, and the guy was saying that, is it more important to feed yourself more positive stuff, or is it more important to listen or to stop hearing more negative stuff? And he said, hands down, is stop hearing more negative stuff, because that negativity, man, is out here. That's that villain voice. Like you have, like the guy on the other side was the villain. The guy in the back seat was the good voice. And that villain, like he said to him, he said, that voice ain't gonna never go away. I don't care how much money you make. Every day when you wake up, you got to decide, what are you going to listen to? What are you going to focus on? Because it's going to be there. It's just going to be there. I call it the old man or the old lady, that voice that been with you for a while, that don't want to see you. See, the worst friend is not one of the physical people that you hang around. It's that voice in your head. That's the worst friend, that villain that sits on the other side and says, don't listen to all that. You know what's going to happen. Nobody in our family has ever been successful. Why do you want to step out and stretch like that? That voice is on you every day. So when you wake up, you got to see the future. Like what Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about. He made one statement that was so powerful. He said, remember the future. Don't remember the past. Remember the future. Remember what you're looking at, everything that you're going for, the success that you're going to have, the vision board, the pictures that you have up, seeing yourself winning. Remember that every single day, and have something to shoot for. And it's almost like lifting yourself up out of your body like a spirit does, and looking down on yourself, but you seeing the future more than the past or even what's going on right now, because what's going on right now could throw us off. But it's a battle. Like, I have this conversation all the time. It ain't, the people who succeed and win big, it ain't easy. That's not a cakewalk. They had to see themselves as a winner, even when nobody else around them saw it, even when nobody else believed in them, even when when everybody talked about it. You know, I remember on one of the songs when Jay-Z said, his uncle said, man, you ain't gonna, you foolish to think, you know, now you're a billionaire. But, you know, we're going to hear that because people that we know, most of the people we know has been successful. So a lot of times it's more of they don't want to see you grow or become successful than they're trying to help you. Now, there's a few that feel like they're helping you. They're like, well, I don't want to see you hurt. I don't want to see you strive so hard and you don't get it. It's a few that might believe that. But I think the more people believe that, wait a minute, you come from where I come and now you're striving, you're trying to have dreams and goals bigger than what I have. And what if you hit it? What if you actually get it? Right. Now I'm gonna look crazy. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people are doing that. They're holding you back if you hang around, but that villain is really holding you back.
Mm. Yeah, what we listen to, like I said, surround ourselves with, that has to be the focus. Because if you don't focus on the positive things that you are trying to feed yourself, that negativity is going to come and it's going to take over. And it can sometimes almost just make your dreams and the things you've processed as good, the smallest little negative can become so big over your dreams because it'll make you think like you dream too big or that isn't possible, or it's going to take too long, or, you know, why do you think you can do that when nobody else did it? Like, right. You know, it can make you feel like, who are you? Right. But that's why you have to continually feed yourself positive. And if you can't give it to yourself, you have to put yourself in places where positive is around. You have to put yourself around people that speak positive. If I'm not having a bad day, I'm not one to harper on it, but I'm definitely not going to talk to somebody else that's having a bad day because we're going to be having people together.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to find some music that's going to encourage me. I'm going to go outside and take a walk. I'll listen to the birds and just thank God that, you know, that I can feel, that I can listen. I find ways to, even if at my most uncomfortable or places where I may not be my most positive self, to just find a way to be thankful. I'm thankful, that makes me encouraged to keep going. Right. But the moment that I'm not thankful, I'm now harping on what I don't have, what I can't do, what I didn't do, what I may have missed. And if you start thinking about one thing, it's just going to keep compiling. So you always have to keep yourself entertained by something that's going to level you up and not soothe you where you are. Right.
You know, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying you can't stay in a place like that and grow.
Right. You know, when you mention music, you know, I've learned this years back where it's taught that when you have a great day and you feeling really good about yourself and everything is going great, and you put a particular song on while you're listening to it, remember that song. Because from the day when it's going bad, when you put that song on, it's going to take you back to that day that you felt good. It's the same thing, the opposite end. If you're feeling real bad, or, you know, we used to talk about if you lost your girlfriend or boyfriend or something, and then you put on a song, the next time you play that song, you're going to be feeling sad about that situation that happened at the time. It's going to bring you down. Right. You know, we used to say that even about our meetings. When we used to do the home meetings, we would say, put light jazz on. Don't put anything with words, because somebody could be sitting there and they hear a song and they start thinking about their old relationship and they get sad and want to leave. So, but it's a good thing with the music, man. If you can, when you having a great time, you know, put a song on and remember that song when the time is not too good, and put it on, and it's going to bring you back to that feeling that you had. You know, I'm a music person. I love it. I love listening to different music. I mean, different type of music. But I also love listening to audios from people like, you know, old school, all the way back to, you know, from Bob Proctor to Les Brown to, and there are a lot of new stuff. Everything that's out on YouTube that's positive, that deals with the mental mental toughness or your mindset, I'm always feeding my mind that and listening to it, because that villain, that voice, and it's a lot of people that you deal with daily that are not thinking the way you're thinking, and this little stuff that they say, you know. And then you got to think about, I think I talked to you one night about, we were talking and I asked you about your top 5 people that you talk to, because that's so important too. Because those 5 people that you have a conversation with, you might not have it with them every day, but count what 5 people you talk to the most and see what they're saying and what they're thinking, because that is put on you too. Because sometimes, you know, you ever got off the phone talking to somebody and all of a sudden you feel like, my God, what's come over me? You know what I'm saying? Like, dang, that's doom and gloom just hit me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where did that come from? You know? So all that stuff is important, especially when you're doing something outside of the box. Because what you're doing, being an insurance agent, that's outside the box. That's not a part of go to school, get a good education, go get a good job, save your money, you know, work a part-time job or something. Anything that deals with sales, anything that deals with commission, that's all outside the box. And most people are trained to go negative on you when you bring that up. And so you have to stay, you know, kind of primed up every single day and watch more than most people of the people you have in your life. You know what I'm saying? That's so important.
Right. Because you have to be able to counteract those conversations and nicely put people in their place. Like, I ain't one of them now.
Yeah.
You can have that conversation with someone else, but no, you ain't gonna come over here with me. So I'm one of those. I'm either going to politely bring you up a little bit to speed, you know, and you're gonna come on my side, or I can nicely remove myself from the environment because I have to protect this space that I grow in, that I live in. You have to protect it by any means. And people that don't understand that concept, they will try their hand. And they will, and like I said, it's easy for negative to come in and give you doubt. And when you're in a certain place in your life, you know, any little doubt can turn into big doubt.
God, yes.
I don't want none of it. You know? If I smell it, if I breathe it, it's like, I don't want it.
You know, like, and I'm gonna give you 1 or 2 times, like you said, but then that 3rd time, that's it. I'm done. If I check you a couple of times and you still talking that way, then you in the phone under do not answer. You know what I'm saying? So I had to move on, because you're gonna be who you're gonna be, and that's fine. It's just that you can't be in this circle, you know.
And conversations like that, they can impact you. Whether you feel like you're just, okay, I'm gonna have this conversation and appease this person for the moment. Like you said, once it's over with, you settle in that conversation. You settle once you're away from different environments, especially when you've given a lot of yourself. Like I do it all the time. Talking to people every day can be draining. So, but at the end of the day, when I sit with myself, I have to ask myself, you know, did I help someone today? You know, I have to give myself the talk to not feel like I've taken in all these problems and health issues and hurt. Did I help someone? Did I make someone think differently? How, you know, how did this go? How can I have to give myself the positive light, because in this environment, people do come at you with a lot of negativity, and they, and you know, and they backstories and life stories. And my grandmama and my daddy and my brother, but you still ain't got nothing. So your grandmama and your daddy, they didn't really help you. I'm trying to help you.
Yeah, you're right. I'm trying to help you. You don't see it, you know.
Yeah. So it's like, but I have to keep myself encouraged. So if I'm ever out in a place and I feel very overwhelmed because I've taken in more negative than positive, I got my gospel playlist that I will go to.
Yeah.
I love all genres of music, but it's something about the inspiration that I get from gospel. Like you can literally find a song that will say the words that you need to say out of your mouth to encourage you. And that gives me hope to say, okay, that was that situation. Let me not take it on to the next one. But I got to feed myself something to bring me back up, because what you feed is what will grow. So if I'm going to sit here and harper on this, you know, this sadness and all this questions and debate, that's gonna make me be like, all right, I'm done for the day. I'm gonna go home.
Yeah,
I can wrap a day up really quick.
yeah, I'm done with this.
No, but you can't make no money like that. You can't help. Like, my purpose is to help, and if I harper on this, I'm not gonna help nobody. I'm just gonna hurt myself by listening to people that aren't even helping themselves. So
Right.
so you always have to give yourself something positive. If you can't give it to yourself, find someone or somewhere
Something.
that level you up a little bit.
Yeah,
Like, go to
right.
they say exercise is good for you.
Right.
It's a stress reliever. It's a good workout. You can release some, stress and get yourself recalibrated. I'm all for it at this point in my life. I'm going to do whatever I need to do because I don't want to give my negative energy to somebody else because somebody else gave it to me.
Right. You want to pass it on.
No. So, but I do have to be intentional about feeding myself things that are positive. That's why I laugh a lot. Probably laugh at stuff I shouldn't be laughing at. But laughter is good.
Yeah, I laugh a lot too. Yeah.
I'm that one person you look over and be like, is she laughing right now? Yep.
No, yeah, I'm laughing. Yeah.
But I may not be laughing at the situation. I'm just making light for myself. So, just
Right.
you gotta do something to balance yourself out. Or you're gonna be sitting like the guy in the passenger seat, just talking to us and listening to it.
Right.
Yeah, you can't do that.
I ask you, and we're gonna wrap it up with this. I ask you, give me a couple of topics that we can talk about, and one of them was you said insurance, and then there's one other you brought up, and we're gonna end it with this. I want you to ask me whatever that question was, if you can remember. It was a question about dating, and you said something about relationships, and I said, man, we talk about relationships. You get 1 million people talking about that because everybody has the answer to these relationships. And then you asked me a question, and it was dealing with dating and men. And do you remember that particular question?
Do I remember that question?
Okay, don't give me don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe if I had more time, my brain.
Yeah, don't think about it.
Okay,
Just think right now.
Uh-huh.
Relationships and men and women and everything that you see out on social media. What question would you ask me as a male, as a man, that you would like to know the answer? That I'll give you my opinion. Now it's not the answer, it's just my opinion. What question would you have, that you're thinking about that you would say, man,
Okay. Do you feel now that times are different, we are exposed to a lot more with the internet, social media, whatever the case is, that the rules for dating are the same as they were? And if not, why? Why are they different?
The rules for dating. Okay, well, that's a broad statement. So a broad question.
Well, I can narrow it down for you and make it,
Yeah, kind of narrow it down because I just talked about it the other day. I said, I remember growing up and before I got married, it was always like you had to take that risk of approaching somebody and talking to them. Mm-hmm. Now everybody just send out text messages. Hey, you want to do something tonight? You want to hang out tonight? You can say yes or no. Then it's no pressure, no embarrassment, none of that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's so it's a different ball game when it comes to that.
So that's what I mean, like the difference. So when I grew up, and my dad would tell us about dating, for one, it was myself and my sister, just two of us. My parents still married. So I grew up in a 2-parent household. But my dad always said, when it comes down to you dating, you have to date with intention and you gotta let a man work. If a man wants you, he's going to work to get you. You don't go out and do all the work. You don't have to show up as this extra presenting all that you have. When that man sees you, he's going to see something in you that he wants, and he is going to work to either get at it or he's going to work to learn it. That's how I grew up. And I still wholeheartedly believe that for the men that have any form of a foundation, that there is not a fear or It ain't got to be some background check like what you do, what's your background, what's your credit score, like how you maintain, what you drive. None of that really matters. Like your core character being is really what is most important to me. But so how I grew up is one thing, but nowadays dating is fun. It's something to do. It's learning a person. Why do I want to take 30 dates and learn 30 people? I don't like all 30 of you.
Right.
What is wrong with a man approaching a woman that he finds interest in and going about dating to get to know her versus I'm going to date her, but I'm going to have 5 more on the side? Or I don't have to show any effort to her because we're just dating. Did that help to narrow it down?
Yeah. But I also see men and women saying that, I'm gonna take my time and I'm gonna go through a bunch of them until I find I see that a lot, on both ends where you say, well, shoot, I got to make sure I got the right choice. So I'm not gonna stop. I got to keep going, and experimenting. I'm not saying sexually, but I'm just saying you got to experiment. And you're saying that's not your thing. You're saying,
I think for women, we only take that role about dating because the quality and quantity of men that we have, it's more women than it is men. For us here in Memphis, I know for sure.
Right. It's everywhere.
So it's kind of like, you don't want to narrow your search down if this is not a man. So the difference to me in a man versus somebody just trying to date, a man knows when he approaches you, oh, this is somebody I would really like to in depth get to know and see where it can go. Not, oh, this is somebody else, we can be cool and hang out and be good friends. No, once you're at a certain age and a certain point in life, sir, I got all my cool friends I need.
Right.
I'm gonna put you on the business side where I use you as a resource, a sounding ear if I need you for business. But on the personal note, you're not going to get my time because personally, my time goes to where it's valued. And you dating me and several other people, that's no value. This is just something for you to do. For me, I need you to be intentional. Men are not as intentional. Women, we can see how you come at us. And it does not take long for a woman to be like, oh, well, all these other 5 ain't really, they ain't still.
Right.
It don't.
I see what you're saying now, but I'm gonna tell you why it's different. Well, you say it's different. I know that. With men, it's like social media. It has given men too many options to choose from. They can sit on there and you see women and just go into their DMs or their, messenger and leave a message now. And they're just really shooting their shot. It's like before, you didn't have all those options. You had the ladies that you knew in your city or maybe worked on a job with you. And, maybe you saw them around somewhere. Now you go to social media. I was watching something the other day where one of the NBA players was talking about how all they do is DM. They'll find somebody that looks good and kick back Mississippi where that one guy that on the job was really digging on him and wanted to, but then they DM them, fly them out, do what they want to do with them. So now it's like these guys it's almost like a lineup. So now they going through the lineup, you know what I'm saying? And
there's no quality in that though.
I agree.
The quality. So you being a man of a certain age and time.
Right.
Is there value in that, or is that just wasting your time?
I don't believe that, but I think that in this world now is no value with anything almost. The world is just going, like I said, what I saw the other day, I said, this thing going to hell, man, for real. It's almost over with. I mean, I don't think guys are just not even, it's no value anymore. It's like they're taught.
Or that,
yeah, I know. But I'm saying it's like, you got a choice now. You got a big playing field you could choose from. And that's what they're doing. It's like, I think that's the biggest problem. Somebody that a lady that has potential and all this, it's like they feel like it's a whole pool of them. I can just keep and it's not.
But it's not.
Yeah, I agree.
I literally had a guy tell me, he was like, Tawanna, your standards are a bit outdated. He was like, for every time you tell me no, it's 5 more that will.
Right.
And I had to tell him, well, sir, please remove me off your roster. I don't want to be one of the 6.
Okay. I understand.
Please take me off, because you cannot tell me. He told me because it was certain things he wanted of me or wanted to see out of me. And I'm like, are you my boyfriend? Are you trying to even reach that level of my male, guy or whatever the case is? No, you want to chill out and have fun and we talking. I'm not one.
You don't have time for that. You don't have time.
Yeah. And once you get a certain age, I mean, it's cool in your 20s and your 30s.
Yeah.
That's your time to do all this.
Right.
But when you've had life experiences, pay bills, trying to plan for your future, why I need 5 of y'all to go through to figure out which one of y'all.
I agree. I agree with you totally. But again, the world is so messed up out here now that social media, man, and what they're doing out there, and it's just it's ratchet. You know what I'm saying?
So you have to conform to social media now? Like how
well, that's everybody's on. So it ain't like you conform to it. It's like in your life now. You know what I'm saying? It's a rarity that you don't see people on social media. It's like not even conforming. It's a part of your life now. You know what I'm saying? It's just a part of, and if you're not, I've had ladies tell me this. I don't trust him. I said, why? He ain't on social media. He ain't got no page. He ain't out there. So so he must be doing something, because he don't want to be out there where somebody can question him. So, if he ain't on social media, no, that's a sign right there. He's snaky. And so, like I said, it ain't even conforming to it. It's like, it's our daily life now. That's just a part of it, and so, it's challenging out here. It's a different ball game now. And the world is it's crazy, man. You start thinking about it and talking about it. So I don't know. I really don't know. I'm saying, I came up in the time where you met somebody, you dated that person, and that was, it wasn't easy. So you didn't have another choice. Like when you wasn't around that person, you literally had to go out hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Now you just turn on the laptop, grab your phone, and let me try her. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Let me try her.
I think it's, it's one thing to have a social media account, but I think the whole DMing me, don't do that. don't DM me, sir. If you don't catch me out in public, please do not blind message me in my inbox. Like, hey, I have an interest in you. What are you interested in? The picture I posted? The words I made?
That's it. That's it. That's what they're interested in, because the picture you posted and maybe what you're saying just a little bit, they don't really see. That's the challenge I have with, that's telling you that these guys, they're in it for a whole nother reason, because you got 50-year-olds that's DM 20-year-olds. I'm like, what kind of conversation you can even have with a 20-year-old? If you 50, you live your life, way more than this person. What are you talking about to a lady at 20 years old? What is she saying to you? It's got to be just,
they don't want to talk.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's just like, it's a meat market almost. So I don't.
And that's how I look at it. That's why I don't like DMing, because if I'm not the only person you've DM'd. So at this point, you just you out there fishing. You threw a rod out and you trying to catch bait. Like, I don't want it. I'm going. You got a whole pond out here, sir. Leave me, little fish, alone.
Right. You know what? I think the next part we do, I'm gonna have you and a couple of ladies and maybe a couple of guys, so we can really talk about this and see what they're saying. Because yeah, I'm sure that would be interesting to have other male views and other ladies that's saying, because it's crazy out here.
Get some males that are actively dating out
I got you. Yeah, I know. I'm saying not only any that married, some people that's actively. I got you. Yeah. Somebody who's actually out here doing the doggone thing. Like you said, they out here and they're living their life and they're dating. So,
but it would also be good to have someone that's married, newly married, maybe that was in.
How did that happen?
Yeah. Like how did they cross over? Did they find, did they cool the inbox?
Yeah.
And they say women nowadays, we are supposed to shoot our shot. I wish I would. For you to diss me, sir, I'm gonna come find you. Where you?
Well, wait a minute. Let me ask you this question here.
You diss me?
But here's the question. Now I know I can't imagine you answering this. Well, all right. Here's the question. You gonna tell me like, yeah? Give me another bruh. All right. So this guy that I was watching is NBA player. So are you telling me, like he said, he even lost his game or lost his shot when he found out Drake had DM'd this girl? So are you telling me if Drake DMs you and says, "Hey, I want to fly you out, hang out with you," you gonna say, "No, Drake, get out of here. I ain't dealing with you, Drake," or somebody that at that level of Drake, and Drake saying, "Look, I like you. I see. Why don't you come hang out with me for a week or a day or two?" What you gonna say?
Now Drake inbox me. I'm gonna tell him to pull up, sir, and we'll have a conversation in person. I'm not
okay, but what if he says, "No, I'm too busy. I want to fly you to one of my concerts"?
It's absolutely fine by me. I'll pass, and I'm sure you have plenty other options. You didn't just pick me out of the lineup.
yeah, he did. He said he just.
You have a specific purpose in mind to hit me up randomly. Now, if you have interest in me, like I said, my daddy's values are instilled in me. So, sir, you're going to have to make some effort. Pull up. You can do it. You can fly out here right now, us have a conversation, go to dinner. You can go on.
I'm busy. I got a concert tour going on. I'm going to fly you out. I'm going to take care of you, put you up. I'm going to put you in line with all my other ones.
Well, we're going to be busy together because, sir, my schedule does not permit. Sorry, Drake.
Boy, I tell you.
I told you who I thought I was.
There you go. Oh, my God.
I'm just saying, like, no, you can't. Because one thing my daddy also said is, baby, don't believe you special until a man has shown you how special you are. You're going to make me feel like I'm special just because you offering to fly me out. Now, if I was broken, busted, and could fly my own self out, then maybe I would jump bait. But, sir, no. If you want me and you Drake, sir, I'll wait on that doorbell to ring. See you when you get here. If not, then,
Oh, my God. Look,
we busy
whenever y'all see this, please go in the comment section and give me your response to what she's saying. Because I like, you telling Drake, look, you got to come see me and ring my doorbell. You can't fly me nowhere. You can't. What if he says, I'm busy, but what about you and your son going on a European trip for a week? I'll pay for it. I don't even gonna be there. I'm just gonna send y'all on a trip because, I like you and, maybe when you get back.
Bruh.
We have been following the news, sir. Do we want to talk about P. Diddy? Do we want to go that deep? Those things may be enticing to a younger generation.
Right.
But to certain women at a certain point in their life, some things that may catch an eye to one is not eye-catching to us. That's not eye-catching to me. If you have interest in me, sir, you're going to make an effort. So I know it's genuine effort. It's not something, okay, yeah, you can fly out 10 females, but how many are you flying to? Okay, thank you. You can ring my
Oh my God. We're gonna have to end on this one, but I look, we're gonna do another podcast and we're gonna have some people on here we can discuss this with. Boy, you telling Drake to come to the door.
You Drake, sir. Pull up, big dog.
Bruh.
Dang, all right. Well, look.
Hold on. Well, let me ask this question, Tony. Do you have a daughter?
No.
Okay. If you had one, what would you tell her to do?
Bruh.
I would, you know, yeah, I would tell her, you know, stand your ground like you. Yeah, but I guess ain't no but in that one. So I guess woo,
come on.
Because I'll be thinking, man, we can do some business with Drake and we might get, I'm like, but then I'm like, no, I can't.
I think I am.
Oh my God. I can't do that though. I would say, no, stand your ground. You know,
but I would say on the flip side, if it's for business purposes, you could tell her, all right, go on, fly out. But it's only talking business. If he don't want to talk business, I need you to get back on that plane.
He ain't gonna talk no business. I tell you
okay,
that right now.
don't you get on that plane then?
God, dang.
No, you get. And I think about that all the time when it comes to me doing stuff that this new generation does. What would I tell my 12-year-old daughter as she's growing up? If I'm okay with accepting it, I can't be mad at her for accepting anything. But somebody got to stand the ground and make these young men or whatever they want to call themselves level up. They either gonna meet your standard or they're gonna go on out there because there's a plenty of women that are just thirsty. Plenty of them. I just ain't one. I'm not doing it.
So I got a bunch of other questions. We're gonna stop now. But I appreciate you being my guest host tonight, and I appreciate you you know, entertaining the videos we had and, you know, and giving your input on it. So, but we're going to have you on again. And this time we're going to have some more people on here.
Yes,
we're going to get down to the nitty gritty.
All
right.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so
much.
much.
All right. Thank you again. And we're going to sign off, folks. So remember to subscribe to the podcast, man. To the big show, for real. Subscribe, like, and comment, and do all those things because we had 4,000 now, and only been in. I think we started 7 months ago. My goal is to have 10,000 in 12 months, so that's another 5 months. But 4,000, I thank you guys. So, but let's see if we can get it to 10,000. All right, that's it. We're gone for the night. Thank you again, Tawanna.
Thank you.
Make sure that you like and subscribe and hit the all button and all that kind of stuff because we're going to have a lot of good interviews on this podcast.